Hi guys, welcome to Pete's Guitar Universe. Today we're going to be having a look and a listen to guitar cables. There are a lot of myths and rumours flying around the internet and at gigs, all about guitar length affecting your tone. We all put a lot of time and creativity into playing guitar, so we want to sound our best, right? Is it true that a short guitar cable gives better tone than a long cable? And if it is, by how much? Can we really hear the difference? Today we're going to find out. After trying a lot of guitar cables over the years, at the moment I'm playing through Damme guitar cables. They don't sponsor me, I don't get paid for saying that, that's just the truth. I also have some other cables for us to try. Some are high end and some are very low end, so we'll be able to hear the difference, if there is any. So I actually have a range of cables for us to try today, ranging from the super high end Fender Custom Shop Deluxe cable, 20 foot long, to a 10 foot Damme cable with gold jack. That's a very good cable, it's my personal favourite at the moment. Next, we've got the same exact cable, but with a different colour, and that will be interesting to compare to the other Damme cable. Can we hear a difference? Just here we have a 5 foot Damme cable, same spec theoretically, but it's shorter. And on this side we have the Fender standard range, just a 10 foot cable, so that will be interesting to compare to the Damme cables and the longer but more expensive and allegedly better quality Fender Custom Shop cable. And the cheapest of all is this 5 foot cable, which came free with a guitar I purchased recently. If you'd like to watch the unboxing and review of that guitar, it's a Seafoam Surf Green Strat that we aim to modify on this channel. You can see the unboxing video by clicking in my links. So let's dive into the test. I'm going to use the same guitar, I'm going to play the same piece with hopefully the same amount of feel to it, and so we can hear like for like the differences. Here we go. Hey guys, welcome back. Could you hear a difference? I think I could. Let me give you my thoughts and some conclusions. The cheapest cable of the lot was surprising actually. Okay, it didn't have the low end of the more expensive cables, and it didn't have the high end either, but it sounded pretty good, very well rounded. It was kind of like just squashed. I would never do any recording with it because the fidelity is just not there. I'm guessing the retail value on that would be somewhere in the region of £3 to £5 maximum. Let's get rid of it. Next up we have the Fender Vintage Voltage cable. I think this cable was the biggest surprise. It was lacking in the low end and it was lacking in the high ends. Maybe the Vintage Voltage has something to do with the tone. It just couldn't compare to the other cables. In terms of sound quality, I'd rate it pretty similar to the cheapest guitar cable. It was okay, and I'm sure it's built to last, and it has a very cool vintage tweed braided hose, so maybe it would be okay for life on the road. I just would never use it in the studio. It looks cool though. Let's get rid of it. This is the shortest of the two Van Damme cables, and my initial theory was that this was going to sound the best, simply because less cable equals less signal loss, and I knew that the clarity was there. I've used this for recording, and it did not disappoint. I could not rate this any higher. This is a 10 out of 10 cable. The length, well, maybe it had something to do with it, maybe it didn't, but it sounded amazing to my ears. Really crisp high ends and lots of low end. No muddiness whatsoever. It was fantastic. Next up was the longer of the two Van Damme cables. This was equally as good as the shorter cable. I thought there may have been a slight difference before we started, but in reality, as soon as I plugged it in, I could hear all the same high end, all the same low end. There was actually no degradation in signal clarity. And I've played through a lot of cables. That includes some of the higher end Mogami cables as well. But I'm really happy with this, and for the price, it just cannot be beaten. So this is the white Van Damme cable, equally as long as the other grey one, and just the same Neutrik jack with gold tip. It sounded amazing. I couldn't really tell the difference between the grey or the white cables. That's probably because they're exactly the same. The high end is fantastically clear, the bottom end is rich and deep, and it really packs a punch. Was this better than the Fender Vintage Voltage cable and the cheap £5 black cable? Yes, of course it was. This is a 10 out of 10 cable. So, last but not least, we have the Fender Custom Shop Deluxe cable. Nothing was boosted, no extra bass, no lack of treble. To my ears, it didn't sound quite as good as the Van Damme cables. But then I didn't really think it would. The cool vintage style and the braided hose make this worth the money alone. These are not cheap cables, and they are more expensive than the Van Damme. But I think we all know you have to pay for quality, and if you buy this cable, you will not be disappointed. If you're doing recording, go the Van Damme route. Can you genuinely hear a difference in the cables, or is it all in our head? I think there's definitely something in it. If you're more of a live musician, maybe you've got some things to think about. But if you're like me and you spend most of your time on guitar, writing and recording, chances are you'll be looking for the best quality. Okay guys, don't forget to like and subscribe, and hit the alarm button so you get a notification every time I upload a video. It's been great seeing you again. Catch you later guys. Bye!